Welcome back. We have got some breaking news from Manchester United.
First, the head of Premier League referees, Howard Webb, admits not should have been awarded a penalty.
The head of refereeing, Willie Collum, admitted that should have been awarded a penalty in the game. They've released a statement today following that news, which says that the decision contradicts any duty of care from SFA towards their match officials. Sky Sports News have contacted the SFA for comment. You can get more on this story over on our website.
Well, this is why I said what I said, because we played sometime in games like that, and the Premier League sometimes will give you a game like that. But what I like about what he said, and Jamie was mentioning it at the end, and we were talking about it, so many times they were not patient enough on the ball. Every time they put the ball down and they try to make 3 to 4 passes to go on the right and on the left, but they didn't do it very often. I don't know why. Obviously the crowd, they got bullied at times, they were over them, but you know, I think they got away with one. Look, that's how it is. It reminds me of, you know, the other day when Arsenal won at Man United. People were talking more about Man United than Arsenal. Same thing tonight, but they managed to find a way to win it.
Through strength, like he said?
I'm not sure. I mean, you mentioned the duels in the first half. I thought Liverpool lost a lot of duels in the first half. And in some ways, people always say the best way to win is with a last-minute winner. Of course, everybody knows that. But in some ways, the way Liverpool won is almost the worst way to win, taking away the last-minute goal. But in terms of, like, you're being dominated.
The second time he actually wins the ball, Adam Smith lands on top of him. Mike, I don't know what you think, but it's not a second. But they can't go to it now.
Yeah, VAR can't look at it, but I mean, he's played the ball in. Smith's landed on top of Bolly's ankle rather than the other way around, gone over holding his ankle if it's a really bad challenge. But for me, he's very unlucky, Bolly. Not a second yellow card.
Just explain again, Mike, why VAR
Yeah, you can't get involved in cautionable offences, so it's got to be straight red. So, second cautionable offence.
Should that rule be changed?
I'd like to think it will be changed. That's what they're looking at for next year.
Hope they know what they're doing, which I'm not so sure about. So, football is not for sale. We can show that many times. We did all together, all the football stakeholders and all the European society. And
have been doing in the last 3,000 years before starting to give moral lessons.
Ruben Amorim feels like the first manager who I've seen who sticks with a system rather than an idea of how to play. So, you know, I use you, Roberto, as a reference. I always know how your teams will play with the ball. That's your idea. The formation might change, but Ruben Amorim, it's like, I've said this before, the formation's his baby. And to not change it or alter it in situations like that, I don't understand how you can stick with something so steadfastly in a situation like that when it's basically, you know, one guy up front who's not really up front. You don't need 3 players there. If you're going to keep with your system, maybe put midfield players there. You know, we see other managers do that. Maybe you bring a centre-back off and put a midfield player there because you're going to have so much more of the ball, so much more of possession. So I actually think it's not the losing the 3 points tonight. They can make that up through the season. I think it's one of those moments where I think a lot of people will really question the manager on the back of that defeat. They'll look at the players, and we know the players should do better, but the manager will take a lot of the blame for tonight.
Well, first to a significant day in the future of VAR in this country. Premier League clubs are set to vote against the proposal raised by Wolves to abolish its use. 14 of the Premier League's 20 clubs must vote, and Wolves included in that, and their motion to abolish VAR. But we understand that the majority of clubs favour the use of technology in England's top division. But those clubs do want improvements to be made.
But look, we're going to start with that breaking news. Premier League clubs will be asked to vote on the possible abolition of VAR for next season. The proposal has been led by Wolves and it will be heard at a shareholders meeting on June the 6th. Now, it's our understanding that the Premier League board is directly against the proposal. Wolves feel very aggrieved this season as they felt that many VAR situations went against them. This is what the statement from the Premier League spokesman says. The Premier League can confirm it will facilitate a discussion on VAR with our clubs at the annual general meeting next month. Clubs are entitled to put forward proposals at shareholders' meetings, and we acknowledge the concerns and issues around the use of VAR. However, the league fully supports the use of VAR and remains committed alongside PGMOL to make continued improvements to the system for the benefit of the game and fans. Right, so some interesting news just reaching us. It's regarding Wolves, in fact, and all the Premier League clubs, because they're going to be asked to vote on the possible abolition of VAR for next season. It's been tabled by Wolves, this proposal. It'll be heard at a shareholders meeting on June the 6th. Now, Sky Sports News understands that the Premier League is directly against this proposal, but they recognise that Wolves do have a right to make such a proposal, but feel abolishing it would lead to many more incorrect decisions. Let's just show you some of the stats, because earlier in the season, stats showed that correct decisions increased from 82% to 96% under VAR. Now, Premier League officials believe the proposal would seriously impact the reputation of the Premier League as one of the elite leagues in world football. It would mean no semi-automated offside or in-stadium announcements to the crowd, and that the Premier League is pushing hard for that. A Premier League spokesman said this: the Premier League can confirm it will facilitate a discussion on VAR with our clubs at the annual general meeting next month. Clubs are entitled to put forward proposals at shareholders meetings, and we acknowledge the concerns and issues around the use of VAR. However, they say the league fully supports the uses of VAR and remains committed alongside the PGMOL to make continued improvements for the system for the benefit of the game and fans. So interesting thoughts coming from Wolves. They are proposing that they abolish VAR. As I said, that will be held and heard at a shareholders meeting on June the 6th. No doubt we'll hear more on that story.
A weekend of high-stakes football drama has culminated in a significant disciplinary action, as UEFA has handed a 4-game ban to an official for alleged inappropriate behaviour during a heated match. The decision has sent shockwaves through the football world, igniting debates over officiating standards, accountability, and the broader integrity of the sport. The incident, which occurred during a fiercely contested fixture, reportedly involved conduct deemed unacceptable by UEFA's disciplinary panel. While specific details of the alleged behavior have not been fully disclosed, the governing body's decisive action underscores its commitment to maintaining fairness and professionalism across all competitions. Football fans and pundits have reacted strongly to the news. Some have praised UEFA for taking a firm stance, emphasizing that officials must uphold the highest standards both on and off the pitch. Others have called for greater transparency in how disciplinary decisions are reached, arguing that clarity is essential to maintain trust in the sport. UEFA's move is part of its broader effort to strengthen accountability in football officiating. Over recent years, the governing body has faced scrutiny over inconsistent refereeing decisions and the perceived need for stricter oversight. By enforcing disciplinary measures like this, UEFA aims to signal that misconduct, whether on the field or in professional interactions surrounding matches, will not be tolerated. The ban will see the official sidelined for 4 upcoming matches, a significant period that could affect fixtures at multiple levels of UEFA competitions. As football continues to evolve with increasing scrutiny from fans, media, and players alike, this case serves as a reminder of the delicate balance between authority, accountability, and the integrity of the sport. As discussions continue across social media, fan forums, and expert panels, the broader conversation about the role of referees, ethical conduct, and disciplinary standards in football is set to intensify. UEFA's action may be just the beginning of a wider push to ensure that football remains a fair, transparent, and respected game at every level.